We're excited for the second day. Let's keep grinding, and I hope everyone stays enthusiastic till the end. Now I hand over the session to Daniel Anna.
All right, thanks, Subi. Yeah, so good evening, guys. We'll start probably. And yesterday we looked at what components are. We looked at a simple introduction to React, and we looked at Code Sandbox and how you can create components, how you can have multiple components on the same page, virtual DOM, actual DOM, all kinds of React concepts, right? And today I thought we would move on to something that's not a part of React, but you will be needing. So let me give you an example, okay? Let's go into our browser today. Right, and let's pick some website. For example, let's pick Elevate itself. And if you go on the Elevate website, you see that there's one index page, right? And you can access this index page by typing in just the URL alone. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click on any of these links. For example, let's click on View Tracks. And if you notice, the page changes, and at the same time, if you look at the URL, you see the word /tracks, right? What is this? Can anybody tell me what this is called? /tracks. Or let's say you click on let's go back and click on, say, submit a proposal, and you see changes to /register speakers, right? Can anybody tell me what this is? What comes after the slash? Does somebody want to volunteer and try? What's the word for that? That thing that follows the slash. There's a generic term to refer to that particular thing I just showed you. What is it called? Does anybody want to give it a try? Or should I pick names?
Path தானா?
Who answered? Can you please say your name and then give your answer, because I can't see who's talking. Okay, Senko.
செங்கோட்டு இல்லைன்னா
Okay, what is the answer?
path
Path is one.
URL path.
Okay, that is one term, but the React specific term that I'm looking for is the word route, ROUTE. Okay. So what are routes and how do they work? That's what we're going to be looking at today. I'm going to teach you guys how to create multiple pages. I know I said React is a single page application. It is still a single page application, but I'm going to teach you how you can make what's known as routes, and you can give your user the impression of navigating between pages. So under the hood, it's just one page. They're always on the same page, but on the browser, you're going to give them the impression that you're moving from one page to another page. So we can't do this with just React. We would have to install some third-party library, and I'll tell you which is the best one, and I'm going to teach you how to use it, okay? So if you're all ready, I want you to head over to Code Sandbox again and create a new React project from scratch, okay? Don't use the one that we used yesterday. Go to codesandbox.io and open a new React project. Once you've done that, it would be nice if you guys could react to the message I post. All of you open a new React project and then react to that message. $22 people. Okay, I'm just gonna wait for a couple more seconds, probably a minute. Come on, guys, make it faster, please. We're only gonna look at two concepts today. One would be routing, and the other one would be styling. Styling, we should have done it yesterday, but we didn't have time. So I'm just gonna teach you how to style things really quick with CSS, and then we'll move on to routing. But we look at both together in the same project today, okay? 36 people. 5 more have to react to that message. Like I said, open Discord on your phone, so it'll be easier for you guys to react to messages as well as watching it on your computer. $39, $40, $41. Alright, so what you guys do is, once you have a new project, we are going to add something called a global style sheet to our project. So think of it this way. Let's say your React application has multiple routes, and each route has, you know, a lot of components, and there's like a whole bunch of stuff that is inside your application. Now let's say you want to have a set of global styles. When I say styles, I'm referring to CSS styles, okay? CSS is basic stuff that you should have learned along with HTML, right, already. So all of you know the syntax, all of you know what CSS is. If you don't, it'll take only like, what, 10 minutes for you guys to learn the syntax. There are like plenty of videos on the internet. You can learn it afterwards and then come, you know, watch the rest of this on YouTube, or you can just listen and you would find out what CSS is. It's not a big deal. You can understand it very quickly. So what we're going to do is we're gonna apply a bunch of CSS styles to all of our elements globally, okay? And we're going to do this only in one place, and it's going to automatically get applied to multiple components on multiple routes, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our files, and we are going to open our public folder. So all of you go to files and open your public folder, and you should see this page called index.html, right? Go all the way up to that file, that folder, public folder. Go all the way to your public folder, and once that is done, I want you to create a new file, and we are going to call this file styles.css. Just do that for me. Go into your public folder, create a new file called styles.css, and keep that file open. You guys done? React to my message if you've finished doing that. There's about 41 of you today, and I know that there's like 1 or 2 people who are like extremely slow, and based off of what I saw yesterday, I saw that some of you have been you're finding it very hard to follow along, right? And it takes a really long time for you guys to even do the simple stuff. For those of you, I would suggest that you guys go back and watch one of our previous workshops on basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and once you do that, you can come back and watch these videos, because you won't be able to follow along at the same speed at which we're going live. Because if I have to slow down the entire class just for you guys, then we won't be able to finish what we planned. So just do that for me.
I'm Daniel.
Yeah.
I think there's some trouble with your streaming, because on YouTube your voice is like super low.
On YouTube my voice is super low.
Yeah.
Okay. Just check if it improved on YouTube now.
Yeah, I'll go defend over here.
Yeah. Alright. You guys are able to hear me clearly, right? On both streams?
Yes, Anna.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Alright, so once styles.css is done, we're going to create a global style. Let's just call this body, okay? We are going to affect the body tag. So this is not a class, this is not an ID. Fabian, is it audible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
So we're going to style a tag, which is the body tag. So this is not a class or an ID. We're just going to type in the word body, opening brace and closing brace. All of you know that, right? And we're going to change the background color. So let's make this background hashtag 000. I'm using hex codes here, so it's going to be black, and I'm going to say my color should be FFF. So that's white. So I've basically changed the background of our body to black and the color of the text to white. And you will not see this change on the right side in real time, because when you modify any folder in the public file, in the public folder, you have to reload your entire app for those changes to take effect. Okay, so just reload the output on your right side, and you should see the web page itself change color automatically. It didn't happen in this case. There's a small step that we'll have to do in between that. Okay, can anybody guess what that step is? You've defined your styles here, but it hasn't affected our output. Can anybody guess what the problem is?
Use
index.html.
Yeah, you gotta import it into your index.html file. So open your index.html file really quick, and anywhere inside your head section, I'm gonna scroll all the way down. I'm gonna add it underneath my title tag. You can do this anywhere inside your head section. Okay, so all of you open index.html and add a new line somewhere inside your head section. Do that for me really quick. If you know how to import the style sheet, import it. For those of you who don't, you can wait for me to program it. React to my message once you've gotten your index file open and you're ready to start typing in stuff. Are you guys stuck? There's only 21 reactions. There's like 20 of you remaining to... All you gotta do is create a styles.css file, make a global body style, and go back to your index.html page and insert a new line after your title tag or anywhere in your head section. Once you've done that, wait for your next instruction. I'll tell you what to type, okay? 32. I think the instruction was pretty clear, right? So I'm just gonna start typing out. And you don't have to type the whole thing. With HTML, there's a feature called emit. So all you guys got to do is type the word link, and if you scroll down, you would see this option that says link:CSS, right? And it says emit abbreviation. Just click on that. It'll automatically write the entire line for you. You don't have to type the whole thing, and just type link. Scroll down to the part that says link:CSS, and select that. It's gonna autocomplete for you. And just change the name of the file to the name that we gave it, styles.css. Once that is done, save the file and hit reload. Your output should change. So now it's black and white, right? I mean, it was black and white, but now it's a black background with white text on it. So once you've done that, just react to my message if you've gotten the desired output. $14 people. Are you guys stuck? If you have doubts, please ask me now. Yeah?
Can you show me the style.css?
Okay.
Thank you, Anna.
Okay. Now what I want you guys to do is we are going to go back to index. You can close the index file and you can close the styles.css file. That's all I wanted to show you about global styling. You get the idea, right? You can go into your styles.css file and you can put as much as you want inside that, and I mean as many styles as you want inside that, and it'll affect all your components globally. That's about global styling. Next thing I want you to do is go into your source folder, and you should see this file that says you should see this file that's called styles.css, right? Inside your source folder. Do you see that? All of you just open source folder and you should see a styles.css file in your source folder. Do you see that? React to my message if you found the styles.css inside your source folder, and I'm going to show you how you can modify certain things in here. Alright, 36 of you got the output for the previous piece that I talked about. Are you guys stuck? Do you have any questions? Alright, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna type in, we're gonna modify the app class on top. We're gonna simply add, say a color parameter here, and we're gonna say, let's say blue. And as you can see, the color on the right side of the screen changed automatically. So the way this works is that your global styles would affect all of it, right? After which, if you have any internal style sheet inside your source folder, this would take higher precedence. This one's precedence would be over that of the global styling. So this would affect your components first, okay? The global styling will be overwritten. Does that make sense? Whatever styles you create inside your source folder and link to a component, these styles will overwrite whatever is in the global style sheet, okay? Do you guys get that? If you guys got what I'm saying, please react to that message. Alright, so now what happens is, now what we can do is we can close this styles.css thingy and we can move on to routing. So what we're going to do is we are going to install a package. So what is a package? Does anybody want to try? We're going to install a JavaScript package. Does anybody know what packages are? Does anybody want to define what a package does for me? Let me see. Dinesh Raj, are you here? Dinesh Raj, are you here? Nope. Okay, let's move on to another person. Ajay Narayan, you tell me, what is a package and what does it do? Ajay? So big should just make a note of people who don't respond.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Let's go with, say, Jerome.
Yeah. No?
What does a package do? Can you answer that question for me?
It's set of files.
Set of files is correct. Ajay, you're not audible. You're not audible.
Sorry, no, I didn't.
You don't know. Okay. Okay. If I ask you guys questions, it's gonna take a lot of time. So I'm gonna just explain what a package does. So what a package basically does is that an individual developer, let's say me or somebody else who's working with React, I can write a bunch of files that do a specific function, and I can take all of these files and I can bundle them into what's known as a package, and I can upload them to the internet. Okay. And so other React developers who wanna write code that wants to make use of my code, they can just install my code in their project directly as a package. So that's basically what a package does. And what we're going to do is we are going to Jeremy, you can mute yourself. So what a package basically does over here is that what we're basically going to do here is that we're going to take a package called React Router DOM, and we're going to install it in our project. So to install a package, you guys go into your file structure, and at the bottom you see this subdivision called dependencies, right? And you see this little input box here that says add dependency. Do all of you see that? Just search for React Router DOM and select it. It'll get installed as a dependency. Can you guys do that? If you've installed it, please click on react to that message. Just go into your file structure, dependencies, search for the word React Router DOM, and click on it. Once you click on it, it'll automatically install it. And if it is installed, it'll show up here on the list. And you can see it says version 5.2.0. That's the version that React Router DOM has. That's the version that we installed right now. So you guys do that and then react to my message, so I'll know you've installed it. Now this package or this library will contain methods, inbuilt methods, and a lot of functions and components that will help us do the whole routing thing that I told you about in the browser. Okay, so that's basically what we're gonna be looking at right now. You guys done? 28 of you installed. What about the other 12? 30, 31. All right. $36. Okay, 4 of you more. 4 of you. All right. Okay, once you've installed React Router DOM, I want you to go back to your app.js file, okay? Your app.js file. This is where, okay, so here's how it's gonna work. I'm gonna draw it out and show it to you guys, and we are going to switch to my whiteboard. All right. Okay, so here's how it's gonna work. You have something called a router inside your React application, right? So what this router basically does is when a person goes to your website, say example.com, and he goes to a certain route inside your website, say slash, it's just let's just say he goes to example.com. This itself is a route. It's called the slash or the index route, okay? Just leave it like that. Then you can also do index.com slash, say, about. Let's say you're building a personal website and you have an about page. It's going to go to slash about. Let's say you have another page that says contact. So let's say he goes to slash contact. Now based on which route the user has navigated to, the router will automatically switch the content inside the actual DOM. Okay, so over here you have your actual DOM, which is your index.html page, and the content inside the root div has to keep changing dynamically, right? So what this router basically does is so here's what happens. You're going to create different components, okay? Let's say you're going to create an about component, and let's say you create another component called the contact component. and let's say you create another component called the home component, okay? 1, 2, and 3 components, okay? And you're gonna link each of these you're gonna name each of these components as home.js, about.js, and contact.js. Now what you do is, in your app.js file, remember the app.js file that we looked at yesterday, the one that comes installed by default? Your app.js file, you're going to import home, about, as well as contact. So we're going to import all these 3 components into your app.js file, and we're also going to import our router into app.js, okay? So you have your router, and your router has a little inbuilt function, or more like not a function exactly, but more like a component. Your router has a subcomponent called the switch, okay? And you're going to import your switch as well. So you have a router inside which you have a little switch, and inside your switch you have something called your link, or your sorry, not your link, your route component. Where is that? Your route component, okay? So switch contains another child called the route component. So there's 1, 2, and 3 components, all that come with the React Router DOM package, okay? And we're going to import all of them. Now what you're going to do is, you're going to say, hey, if my route equals /, I am going to render the home component inside the root div. In case the route turns to /about, I'm going to remove the home component from the root div. I'm going to destroy everything that is in the root div, and I'm going to replace it with the about.js component. In case my route switches to /contact, I'm going to empty the root div, and I'm going to load the contact.js component inside the root element. Does that make sense? Do you guys follow along?
Can you repeat again?
Okay. So basically what happens is, your React Router DOM package, this comes with a set of files, right? There's a bunch of files inside this package. Now router, switch, and route are 3 different files, or 3 different components that are a part of this package. We don't have to program them, they already come as a part of this package. All we're going to do is, we are going to import these 3 components inside our app.js file. Then what we're going to do is, we are also going to import 3 different components that we've created on our own: the home.js component, the about.js component, and the contact.js component. We're going to import all these 3 into the app.js file as well. Then what we're going to do is, we're going to create a small, a sort of linking thing. So more like a switch. So what we're going to say is, we're going to tell app.js, hey, in case your route equals /, I want you to render this component. In case the route changes to /about, I want you to render this component. In case it changes to /contact, I want you to render this component. So when I say render this or this component, I'm basically talking about taking this component and then appending it as a child of the root div that is found in the index.html page. So what you're basically doing is, you're making changes to your virtual DOM in here. And as you make changes to your virtual DOM, your actual DOM reacts to it, and it makes sure that the actual DOM is in sync with the virtual DOM. So to the end user, even though he is on the index.html page the whole time, the routes on the browser would keep changing automatically. So it's going to give the impression of, navigating to different pages to the user. Even though he's still on the index.html page and he's still looking at the root div, internally we are switching components that the user can see, and we're switching the /route thingy on the URL bar as well. So that's basically what happens when you do routing with the React Router DOM. Okay, does the concept make sense? If it does, then please react to that message. Even if it's too complex for you, you can link to root. I don't get what that means. Link to root as in, you don't link anything to the root. The root stays separately in the index file. You're linking the route to a component, and you're adding these routes to the switch. Your switch will automatically take care of the routing. You don't link anything to the actual root component. 30 if you got the concept. If the others haven't gotten the concept, we'll do some coding and then you guys are going to get it. It's going to come to you when we do the actual coding. So let's just switch back to our browser and let's just start programming it. Alright. So what I want you guys to do is go into your source folder, and we're going to do a little bit of a rearrangement. Now when you move on to build bigger React applications, you can't simply build multiple components and just throw them in the source folder. It's going to be messy. It's going to be very hard to maintain it. Instead, what we're going to do is we are going to create a folder inside our source folder. Let's call this folder pages. Okay, so just create a folder called pages really quick. Once you do that, please let me know by reacting to my message. Inside your source folder, create a folder called pages. Okay, that's all you're gonna do. Do that and react to my message. Right, 28 people. Okay. Guys, come on, make it quick. Go into your source folder and create another folder inside it called pages.
Anna, your screen is blank right now.
Alright. You guys see it on the right side? The left side?
Yeah, now it's visible.
Okay, just do that really quick for me. Nine of you remaining. Please make it really quick. We'll have to look at routing. We'll have to look at shared layouts as well. And there's another small concept called styled components. So we'll be looking at three different concepts. And then we're done for today. So my plan is to basically teach you guys individual concepts up until Saturday. Sunday will be a holiday, and you guys can come back on Monday, and from Monday onwards we're going to start building an actual React application. We're going to build an application together. I'm going to program, you guys are going to program simultaneously, and at the end of 5 days we're going to have a fully functioning React application. Now I don't know how much of database and backend stuff we can use at the same time, so we might build just a front-end application with React. But I'm going to teach you how to connect to a database and how to call an API and stuff like that. All that I'm going to teach you, but I don't know if you can build it while building an application. So this is the plan, let's just stick to it. And on the 5th day I'll teach you guys where you can host your React application for free globally. There's a really good platform where you can host React websites for free. I'll teach you guys how to do that, get that down, okay? So yeah, 35 people have reacted. The rest of you, please figure it out really quick. Watch YouTube if you're stuck or something and get it done. Alright, inside your pages folder, I want you to click on the pages folder, and you can see the pages folder is open. So now I want you to create a file inside your pages folder. Okay, we're gonna call this home.js. Just create that file for me really quick. Home.js. And once you create a file called home.js, I want to create another file called about.js. You guys can basically you can see that I'm basically creating those 3 different pages that I told you about, right, as 3 different components. That's basically what I'm doing right now. So do that for me. And contact. So 3 different pages: about, contact, and home. Create those 3 files. Don't put anything inside them. Just create them and wait for me. React to my message if you've created all 3 pages inside the pages folder, okay? $31, $32, okay, that's a good number. 37. Alright. Alright, so once all that is done, do exactly what he did yesterday. Create a import React from React, and at the bottom create a function, okay? Export default function about, and let's do a return function here, and let's simply do a h1 tag. Oops. Let's just say about page. Okay, that's it. It's as simple as that. 4 lines of code. Just do that really quick for me. Once you've done that, just copy it, and I'm gonna simply paste it into the other 2 pages as well. So I'm gonna stay on this page for another minute. Just you know the procedure already. You know what to write, so just write it really quick. I'll paste it in the chat in case you guys need to reference it. But I'm gonna go into contact. I'm gonna paste the same thing, and I'm gonna change the word about to contact. Okay, and at the bottom, contact. So it's gonna say contact page in both places. That's the only change I've made. And I'm gonna take the same thing. I'm gonna go into my home folder. My home file, and I'm gonna rename this to home. Right. So 1, 2, 3 pages done, with 3 different components inside them: home, contact, and about. You guys got it? React to my message if you finished coding all 3 pages. Simple copy paste. Just type it into one file, copy it, paste it into the other files, change the name of the function, and the stuff that you put on that display on that page alone. That's the only thing you need to change. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna wait for a little bit more. Guys, make it really quick. It's just copy and pasting. Also, as what I'm gonna do is every day we look at different concepts. Instead of I deleted yesterday's code sandbox by mistake. But from now on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save my code sandbox, make it public, and I'm going to share that sandbox with you guys on the group. You have to code along with me. Do not copy and paste. If you do, then you won't be able to do the final project that I'm going to assign to you. So then you'll get stuck and you won't get your certificate. So don't think of cheating on this one. Code along with me. I'm going very slowly. I'm repeating it multiple times. Code along with me. But I'm just gonna give you my code sandbox just in case you guys need to refer to it afterwards. Okay, but don't depend on it. That's the only thing I would tell you. 26 of you. The others, are you guys stuck? Let me know. I can help you.
No, could you please show the contact page?
It's the exact same thing as all the other pages. The only thing I changed is the name of the function and the text that I'm rendering.
Yes.
It's the same with home, okay? Just change the name of the function and the text inside it. 3 components, 35 people, okay. Faster guys, 36. 7. Alright, so you guys have done all 3. Now we're gonna close all these files. Did somebody have a question? Alright, so we're going to close all these files and we're going to go to our app.js file, okay? Inside our app.js file, what I want you to do is delete these 2 lines here. Okay, the default lines, just delete them. And so you have just your return div with the app class name. Just do that for me, delete it, and you should see the output clear up on the right side. There's no more output on the right side, okay? Do that for me and then let me know. $17. Guys, make it quick. You just deleted 2 lines and that's it. 27. Alright, so now what I want you to do is import some stuff from the React Router DOM library, okay? So we're going to go to our first line, and I'm going to type import, and we're going to have two different braces, an opening and closing brace, and I'm going to import 4 different things, okay? The first thing I'm going to import is called the browser router, and the second thing I'm going to import is my switch, and the third thing is going to be my route, and my fourth thing is going to be my redirect. Okay, and we're going to import this from React Router DOM. You guys got it? Just do import and then just I'm gonna paste that into the chat in case you guys are stuck. Now to make things easier, what I'm going to do is the first thing that we imported, right, the browser router, I'm going to make a little change. I'm going to say browser router as router. Save it. Okay. This doesn't mean anything. It literally means I'm importing browser router, except I'm changing the name of this component to router. This change does not affect that library in any way. All it does is it says, hey, I've imported you into this file, and no matter where I am on this file alone, I want to reference you as router. So browser router is really big, and a lot of people on the internet would rename browser router into router just for the sake of simplicity. So when you guys start building enterprise applications, when you go into like the real industry, you'd see this a lot. So I'm just preparing you for that change, okay? So import browser router as router, and wherever we want to use browser router, we're simply going to use the word router instead. Okay. So once you've imported all 4, just react to my message really quick. Guys, be a little faster, please. We have 3 more concepts, and we're only importing stuff. 2, 5, 6.
I have a doubt.
Yeah. Who's this?
Lawrence.
Okay.
Why are you importing the stuffs in the bracket, curly bracket?
Why am I importing it in the curly bracket? If you look at the so if you go, let's look into the official website, React Router DOM. This is the official website for the React Router DOM. So these dudes, what they did was, if you try importing it without the brackets as a regular component, it doesn't work somehow. So the fix for that is to import it inside brackets. And I don't really know what the exact reason for this is, but as per the actual official docs, you're supposed to enclose these 4 within brackets. That's just the way the library works. So that's how we are doing it here.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for actual components itself, your regular components that we make, we would simply import it directly without any braces. Whereas these components alone, they need the braces around them. That's just the way a lot of components on the internet would work. So let's just do it that way. Okay, 32 imported. What about the rest? You guys done? 35. Okay. Now what I want you to do is we are going to create a little component here. We're going to call this the router component. Do that really quick. So once you've done that, just could you please share the YouTube link? For me, just got out. Okay. So you guys just type that in, router. We're creating a component called the router component. And inside this, we're going to put some more stuff. We're going to put a switch. And inside the switch, do this first and then let me know. Create a router component inside which you put a switch component, inside which we're going to put 3 more components. React to my message if you finish putting these 2 components in. Alright, you guys done? 29 people have put that in. What about the rest? 11 of you? Make it quick, guys. Just 2 components, just put that in. 34. React to my message if you're finished. Done. Alright, now on top what you're going to do is we're going to import some stuff. We're basically going to import the components that we just created as different pages, okay? So I'm going to say import home from /pages /home. Okay, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it twice and we're going to change it to contact and about. Just do that for me. Import the 3 components that we created previously and that's it. Just import those 3 components for me really quick. Do that. And react to my message if you finished importing all 3 components. Do this on top, okay? Outside the function that you're outside the app function. Do this on top of it. Make sure you start with caps, okay? We'll just follow the exact same naming convention, so it'll be easier for us to debug stuff. Don't change stuff unless you know exactly what you're doing. Don't change stuff. Just follow along. Thirteen people have imported it. 29. Guys, if you're stuck, let me know. Please try to code faster. Code just one line, copy paste it and switch the words inside it. Don't type everything out from scratch. Six of you remain. Alright, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create another little line here. I'm gonna type in route, and I'm gonna say path equals slash. I'm gonna say component equals home, and we're gonna close it. It's a self-closing tag, okay? It's kind of standalone, so just do this line alone for me, and I'll explain what this means in a minute. Just type that in. React to my message if you guys have finished typing that line in. Okay, 20 people more. In case you guys have finished writing that line in, just copy the same line again, paste it twice again, and do slash about, and switch the component name to about. And in here, let's do slash contact, and let's just change the component to contact and save it. Just 2 more lines again, okay? Do that for me really quick, please, and I'll explain what it does once you guys have finished typing it in. React to my message if you finished making all 3 routes, okay? As you can see, we are not using the app.js file to create anything that's going to be presented to the user. There is no view layer stuff in the app.js file. All it does is it takes care of routing. You can add global styles to the app.js file. You can add stuff like checking the authentication status of the user. In case you're creating an application that has a log and logout system, you can do that. You can import say components. You can import, say, I don't know, probably layouts. You can do stuff like that, but no presentation level or no view level stuff is written in the app.js file anymore. I showed you that yesterday just to keep it simple, but from today onwards we would be using separate pages in order to create views. We are not going to do anything in the app.js file, okay? $25 people. Make it really quick, guys. $34 people. Okay. Great. So now if all of this has been programmed correctly, go to the little browser URL bar that you see on top and type slash. Just type slash and hit enter. It should return with the exact same page. Home page again, right? Because when you say slash, you're rendering the home component. So all you're saying is this: whenever the user navigates to slash, you will render home. In case the user navigates to slash about, oops, there's some sort of mistake. Let's see, we made a mistake somewhere. About from pages slash about. Alright, what you guys got to do is you got to put a keyword in called the exec keyword, and I'll explain what the exec keyword does as well. Okay, now we're gonna go back and hit enter on the about page, and it switches to about. So do that for me. Just in after the word route, add the word exact. I'll tell you what this does as well, and I'll explain why we ran into an error without that word in the first place. Okay, just do that for me really quick. It's an extra word, just put that in there, and your routing should work perfectly. So switch the word about to the word contact, hit enter. It should take you to your contact page. You remove all the words and just do slash, it'll take you back to your home page. So routing basically would start working at this point for you. If just do the exact same thing that I did, okay? And routing should work. So please do that for me. And react to my message if you got your routing to work. $21 people. Does it work for everybody else? That's because on your first line, the first React word that you see, import React, the R should be capital on that React. Anthony Berlin, I was talking to you. Did you get it?
No.
Okay. Done. Routing works for everybody else. 29 people. What about the other 11? 31. Okay, I'm gonna wait for a little bit more.
I still have that problem now.
Go to all the files that you just created, check if React is named as React. It's showing a return error. Then go into all of your component files, Anand, and check if you have return statements inside each function. There's a colon on React. Yeah, that's another other mistake. There's a colon after the word React. Import React from React. You have a colon after the word React. Alright, how many people have finished? 32. Come on, 97 of you more come. Let me know if you're stuck, guys. 33. You guys done? 33. How many of you are stuck? Let me know. Those of you who are stuck, react to that message that I just posted. Those of you who are stuck alone and haven't gotten the output so far, just react to that message. I'll try helping you guys out. Okay, the reason why we put the word exact in here is because React Router does something called partial matching. So with partial matching, what happens is, no matter which route you put in, you're still going to get the first component back. It's still going to return the first component. So only when you put the word exact in here, it's going to search, it's going to match the route name exactly with what the user has typed in, and only then it is going to render that component, which is why it didn't work until we put the word exact in. So don't make that mistake. Just put the word exact in every time you make a route, okay? That's one thing. Okay, nobody's responded to the stock message that I posted, so I'm just gonna move on. Let's look at another use case. What happens when somebody types in a route that doesn't exist? What happens? I want you guys to I'm gonna pick a person for this. Don't type anything, don't answer. I'll pick somebody. Very simple question. When you navigate to a web page or a route that we haven't created or doesn't exist, what happens? What do you see? I'm gonna ask someone from the crowd. Let's see. Varshini,
Yes, Anna.
what's the error?
Does it say like file not found or something like that?
Yeah, but there's a code for it as well. File not found is right. What's the error number?
404 error, Anna.
Yeah, perfect. That's basically what you see, right? So let's just go to I don't know, let's just say hey, and as you can see, it doesn't return anything. Why does it not return anything? Because React doesn't know how to handle a case like this. We haven't told it how to handle it, so it doesn't handle it. It's as simple as that. So now what we're going to do is we are going to say, hey, if your slash whatever doesn't match any of the routes we have defined, we need to show a 404 page. First thing we're going to do is create a 404 page. So go back to your file structure, go back to your pages folder, and create a new file called error404.js, right? And then what I want you to do is go to any one of these other pages that you made, copy paste the content, and change the name to error404, and let's just say that's it. That's simple. Okay, just create a new page called error404.js and put the same content you put from all the other components into this. Change the content to say error404 or something of that sort. Okay, do it really quick. Once you've done, react to that message so I'll know you've followed along and finished it. Faster, guys. $22 people. Come on, make it faster, guys. All I'm asking you to do is create a page, change the content inside it, rename the function to error404, call the page error404, and that's it. That's all you guys have to do, okay? Make it quick. $25 people. 33 people. Alright, I'm gonna wait for a little bit more. Please get that done. Alright, now what you do is go back to your app.js file, and we are going to add another route here. We're gonna say route exact path equals slash 404, and we're gonna say component equals error 404 slash. And now what we're gonna do is we have to import that on top. So I'm gonna import that. Import error 404 from /pages slash error 404. Boom. Done, right? You guys got it? That's all you had to do. Import the 404 component, make a new route, and just do slash 404 and put component equals error 404. So every time a person goes to a page that does not exist, it would automatically render this component. Okay? But the only thing is, it will not automatically take the person to that component. Instead, we'll have to add another thing here called a redirect component. You're going to say redirect to, and sorry, slash 104. Boom. You guys got it? Since we're already on a page that doesn't exist, it automatically redirected me to the 404 component that we just created. Okay? One more thing. My styling looks horrible. I don't like the blue, so I'm just going to change it back to, say, DDD. Right, this looks more pleasant. You guys done it? Just go back to your app.js file, add a route to the 404 component, and add a redirect clause here that says, hey, if it matches this, render this component, and redirect them to it, to a page, specifically to a route called the 404 route. Okay? React to my message once you've gotten it done correctly. Okay? So remove 404, type some random route name inside it, hit enter. It'll automatically redirect you back to 404 and say this page does not exist. At the same time, go back to slash home. It'll still say 404 doesn't exist. Let's go back to, say, about. It's gonna say about page. That's routing, plain and simple. One page, one app, just one page. Okay, index.html, one page. The content inside the div, inside the root div, keeps changing dynamically. All of this is handled inside the virtual DOM by the router component. Okay? And there's a small concept that I have to explain in here. Let's see. You guys finished doing that really quick? 15 people, 17. Just finish that really quick. I'm gonna set up my whiteboard to explain a little concept here.
Anna, can you tell again the redirect to part once again? No?
Okay, so basically what happens is, in case you type in some random route name, okay, something that doesn't exist at all, React knows that instead of, there's no page, there's no route that exists like that, right? So it'll automatically default to 404. This is taken care of by the browser itself. It'll automatically become 404. And when it becomes 404, you're saying you want to render this 404 component, okay? Error 404 component. But you don't want the person, let's say for instance I do slash some random letters and some random letters, okay? And I click enter. Technically this error 404 component should get loaded, right? And it should say there's an error or this page is not found. But at the same time, you don't want your users to remain on a route that has this name. You want to redirect them to a route that says slash 404, which is why you're saying, even though I am rendering this component for a route that is not found, I also want to redirect the user to a component or to a route that called the 404 route, and then render this component inside it. So when I click enter here, it's going to take me to slash 404 instead. If you notice, it doesn't stay on the same not found route. It instead redirects me on purpose to to 404 and then shows me the 404 component. Does that make sense?
Yeah, nah, makes clear.
Okay. Yeah, by the way, the board is ready. 29 people done. I'm gonna wait for a little more time. Finish it really quick, guys. You guys done? 36, really good. Okay. I guess we might have to push style components for the next session. I was really hoping to finish it today, but if this becomes too tedious, we'll push it to the next session, no problem. Alright, all of you have gotten it really good. Now what we're gonna do is, let's go back to our whiteboard, and I have a line here. You guys see the whiteboard, right? So I have a little line here that I copy pasted from my code. Basically the route line. So we're gonna break this down, and I'm gonna explain a small concept to you right here, okay? So what basically happens in this line? What did I say happens? Can anybody summarize what exactly this line does? I'm gonna pick a random person. Let's go with Praveen. Are you here? Praveen? No response. So we can note that down. Who else? Let's see. Okay, Praveen is typing. Can you talk instead? Alright, if you can't talk, then I'll just move on to somebody else. I need somebody who can actually talk. Gayatri, you tell me.
Yeah.
What does this line do?
It routes to the path like slash kapra in the page number idu pannomo and edukku route pandrom.
I won't be more specific. What exactly, like break the words down and tell me what exactly each thing means.
Route, it's the slash will be the page to which you need to route. Exact path is the exact path is the path, like exactly like after the slash, whatever the component. If it's home, then it will route you to the home. The component will be home component.
Okay, perfect. So that's basically what this line does, okay? But there's one more thing if you notice. What does this do? This word here called route. Gayatri, you can mute yourself. That was the right answer, so I'm just gonna explain one more thing. You have this small word here called the route, right? What did I say route was? Dinesh Raj, can you mute yourself? Right. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, route. As I said before, the word route here is basically a component, right? Sorry. Route here itself is a component, but what exactly does route do in this line? So basically what happens is, path says if I go to slash, the path name slash, I should render this component, right? But this component doesn't directly just get rendered magically. Instead, what happens is, React will take this component, whatever is returned by this component. Imagine this component has a function inside it, and it has a return statement, right? It takes whatever is returned, it takes it, and then it passes it to the route component. This route component is part of what? React Router DOM, right? It's part of this library. So this is a component that somebody else already created. So we're going to take everything that's inside our home component, and we are going to pass it to the route component. Our route component is then going to do the actual rendering. So what the route component will be known as is, does anybody know what it is? This component has a specific name. This is a specific type of component. Does anybody know what the name is? Anybody want to try really quick? The answer is 3 words. The last word is component. The first two, I want the first 2 words. Something component. Does anybody know what type of component it is? Anybody want to try? A component that encapsulates another component. Has anybody heard of? I have done this for you guys when I taught React to the Project Cortex group. Do you guys remember? Subiksha, Divya, Fabi, Shirley, Sharon, Sengoduvelan, Roshita, not Roshita, Raksha, all of you guys are there. Do you guys not remember? Alright, this is what's known as a higher order component. A higher order component or a HOC, okay? A higher order components would basically what they do is they take content passed by another component inside of them and then they do something with it. For example, home has some content inside the return function, right? All this gets passed into the route component. The route component will then receive it and then it'll do something with it. So how does the route component receive it? There's another word that we're going to use here. What is it? What do you use to pass data between components? I've said this so many times, even during a Project Cortex meet. Do you guys remember what it is?
Props.
Yeah, props, exactly. Remember, this is one of the fundamental React concepts, okay? Props, what is a prop? A prop is nothing but a way of taking data from one component and passing it to another component. You can think of it as a function parameter. What do you do with a parameter in a function call? You pass data to the function parameter, right? And the function parameters would then take accept the data into the function. That's basically what a prop also does. You're basically taking data out of home and you're passing it as a prop to the route component. The route component will then receive that prop and it'll process it further and then it gets outputted. So route is what's known as a higher order component, or you can replace the word route with any component name of your choice. For example, I can say Daniel over here. I can create a component called Daniel. I can put the word Daniel there and it's going to take the contents of home and it's going to input that as a prop to the Daniel component, and this component is going to do some further processing with whatever came from home and is going to do whatever it wants to with it. Does it make sense, the whole concept of props and what a higher order component is? Does the concept make sense? All of you? I'm gonna type it into the chat. Respond, please. Can you repeat? Okay, so basically what happens is this home component here has some data, has a function inside it. This function has a return statement. This return statement will then return some code, right? Or some whatever, anything that is inside the return statement will be returned, right? Outside if you call the function, it's going to return it. It's as simple as that. So now what we're doing is when we are rendering the home component in the browser, we are not directly rendering it. Instead, what we do is we take all the contents from the home component and we pass it down to a component called the route component over here. Let me just clear that out for you. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm taking everything that's inside the home component, and I'm passing it down to the route component. The route component will receive it and it will do some processing and it will render it. So how do I pass this? I'm going to use a concept called props. A prop is nothing but a way of taking data from one component and passing it to another component. And so the component that receives it, the component that encapsulates or controls another component, is what is known as a higher order component. Think of it as, what do you call that term? Encapsulation. You should have come across encapsulation in Java, right? Think of it like that. You basically have a higher order component that encapsulates your lower order component. That makes sense. Does it make sense now, Vishnu? Okay, 30 people understood the concept. We'll do a little programming and then you guys would probably get the next bit. Next bit, what we are going to do is we are going to create a nav bar. How do we do this? Let's go to browser. Okay, we're going to create a nav bar. So what I want you to do is I want you to go back to your... Okay, before that, let me show you a little concept here. I don't think you can see it in this website. How do I show you? Okay, think of it this way. Let's go to Twitter. Hopefully Twitter is clean today. Okay, perfect. Now what we do on Twitter is that I'm going to show you a small concept, okay? Look at this. When I click on the word home, I mean it loaded on the home page, right? So you see some content. And when I click on explore, you see that the content in the center changes. When I click on notifications, the content in the center changes again. When I click on bookmarks, the content again changes. When I click on lists, the content again inside it changes. Profile, the content again changes. When I go back to home, this content in the center alone changes. Nothing else on the left side changes. Have you noticed? The nav bar on the left always stays the same. It remains static. Whereas if you look at the routes on top, even your routes would automatically change, right? Have you seen the routing change on top? So the routing changes, the nav bar stays the same, only the page content changes. And if you look carefully, what basically is happening underneath the hood is that this page, we can break it down. Let me take a screenshot of this, and we're going to break this page down into different pieces, and I'll tell you what's what. Alright, so if you guys come back to my whiteboard. Alright. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create something called a layout, okay? We're gonna create a component. Layout is nothing but a component, okay? This again is a component. We're gonna create a component called the layout. Inside the layout, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a little nav bar on the left side, okay? A little nav bar. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, say, a search bar, and then I'm going to create say a section on the right, say some box here of some sort, and then on the bottom I'm going to create a profile component on the bottom left. And so these are 4 components that I'm going to create and put into my layout, apart from which I'm going to also create something called a child. Okay, the center over here is what I would call a child. Okay, nav trending search and say profile. Yep, that's about it. So 1 2 3 4 5 different parts to this. The difference is that in a layout, what you can do is you can say, hey, I want my nav bar profile to remain static all the time. Once it loads, it shouldn't change. It should just stay on the page as it is, no matter which route we travel to. It's always going to be on the page. We're not going to destroy it. We're not going to re-render it. It's always going to remain the same. The only thing that is going to get destroyed and rendered is the child. Okay? Forget about this. Let's just forget about this whole section for now. It'll complicate things unnecessarily, so forget this. Take only these 3. In your layout, you're going to define 1 2 3 components. You're going to say nav and profile are going to remain as it is. It's not going to change no matter which route we travel to. Whereas the child will keep switching. Okay, that's basically what we're going to do. I'm going to code this, and I'm going to explain it to you in a much better way with the code itself, okay? Because this may not make a whole lot of sense, so let's just code it. Go back to your browsers. We'll create a nav bar in our browser. Okay, alright. So go back to your pages, open your pages, and inside pages, I want you to create a new file. Let's just call this layout.js. Do that really quick. Create layout.js for me, and once you finish it, just react to my message. Create a layout inside the pages. $24 people, 30. Why are you guys making me add the thumbs up on the Pattarai logo? 37. Okay. 40. 41. Okay, perfect. Please don't react to both. I'll lose count. So yeah, inside the layout, what we're gonna do is do the same thing. Import React from React. Export default function layout, and inside this we're going to say return, and we are going to create a little nav bar. Remember the first thing from the picture I told you already? The screenshot that I just showed you? We're going to create a nav bar first, okay? So let's just create a very simple nav. Just type the word nav /nav. Do that for me really quick. If you guys have done all of this so far, just say yes. React to my message. All you gotta do is create a nav, little nav bar. Just put a nav tag inside your layout file. Once you do that, just react to my message, please. What does your nav bar have? Random person, I'm gonna pick Crispin. What does a nav bar have inside it? Crispin, are you here?
Yes, no. I can ask another thing. Yeah.
What does a nav bar have inside it in general?
Yeah, just home, contact, about.
What are those
file.
called?
What is it called? Oh, you're asking what is it called?
Yeah, what is
just
it called?
Navigate to the pages. Just navigate to the pages.
There's a word for those elements, right? What is it called? Links. That's all I was looking for. Don't overthink. Links. Okay, yeah, thanks. So we're gonna create little links here, but before we create a link, we'll have to import the link component from React Router DOM, because React Router DOM handles all routing, all linking, all navigation. So I'm gonna say import link. Oops. From React Router DOM. Okay, done. Import link from React Router DOM, and we're going to create links in here. Okay, so I'm going to say link /link, and I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it 3 times, save it. So we have 3 different links, and we're going to put some content inside each. First one is going to be called home, second one would be about, the third one would be contact. 1, 2, 3. 3 different links, okay? All of you done? Do that really quick. 31 people have reacted saying yes to my layout component. Are you guys still programming the layout? If you are, then here you go. Copy paste. All of you done up until this point? Remember in regular HTML, what would you do? If you have to create a hyperlink, let's see who remembers. Whom do I pick on this time? I'm going to ask a freshman because... Let's see. Jay Surya, are you here? I can't hear you. You've unmuted yourself, but I can't hear you. You should probably pick the right microphone. Alright, what about Jennifer Leslie? The person right below Jay Surya. Are you here?
Yes.
Okay, how do you make a link in normal HTML? Tell me the code for that. What tag?
Tag A.
Okay.
href.
Okay.
Is equal to the link.
Okay, some road. What else? Close it, then?
That's it.
No, this is what do you call it? This tag consists of an opening and a closing tag and something in between. Tell me the full format. It's simple. You just do click me /a. That's the whole thing I was looking for. So you click on click me. There's a link that gets rendered called click me. You click on it, it will redirect you to some route.html. That's how you do it in normal HTML. That's all I wanted to know, okay? Thanks. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the exact same thing, except we're going to do it with React Router inside React. So the format is a little different. So what we're going to do is we're going to say link to, and we're going to say slash, okay? And at the bottom we're going to say link to, and I'm going to say slash about. I'm going to say link to contact. So you look at the similarities between how you do it in React and how you do it in normal HTML. Okay, this won't be here, but look at normal HTML and look at the way you're doing it in React. Okay, so you see link to and then the name of the route that you want to link to when the person clicks on the word contact. Similarly, when you say link to about, when the person clicks on about, he'll be linked to the slash about route. That's basically how you create routes in React, and I'll show you what happens in the browser in a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to delete the HTML line that I wrote. That's just for reference. So that's, we basically created 3 different links. All of you done it? Click on respond to my message if you guys have all made those 3 links. Really simple stuff, right? Also, one more thing, we're gonna have multiple elements inside this return statement. So when you have multiple elements, what should you do to them? What did I tell you that you should do? Multiple children inside a return statement, what would you do to them? Anybody want to volunteer?
Enclose it with a div tag or any other tag.
Yeah, any parent tag, just enclose them with an tag. So I'm just gonna cut this. I'm gonna create an empty tag, and I'm going to paste them inside this. So it has like an empty parent tag, okay? And underneath this, I'm going to write another line. Y'all ready for this? What's the word that, what did I say? How did I say data is going to be passed between one component to another component? How does that happen? What is the word that I used?
Props.
Props, exactly. So now what we're going to do is we are going to write JavaScript code to render a prop here. So I'm going to say props dot children, okay? Oops. Props.children. So now what we're going to do is, this layout function exists, right? Okay, let me do it this way for you. Let's go into the notebook. So let's say the person goes to /home, okay? From some page, let's just say he goes to /home. Now what happens is, you will take the home component. The home component will consist of only the code for the newsfeed and the status update thingy, okay? Just these two. The home component will contain only the code for this middle section. Now what you're going to do is, you're going to enclose the home component inside the layout component. So if you look at your home file, you would do layout, and then you do home, and then you do /layout. So now what happens is, every time you want to go to /home, whatever is inside the home component will get passed up to the layout component. Layout here is your higher order component. So whatever is inside home will be sent to layout as a prop. And the higher order component, or the layout, will receive that prop. And what does it do with that prop? It will render it as a child over here. And how do we receive this prop? We simply go into the function here and we define it. So we're basically receiving the prop. The other element would take it in. The other component would export it, and you would import it using the props keyword here, and then you would simply render all children of the props. So if there are multiple elements that are coming in through the props, you can directly take them and you can just render them here. So when you do props to children, whatever comes is passed through the props. So whatever is returned from the home component, all that code will directly get embedded here in the place of props.children. So now what we're going to do is, we're going to go back to our home page. go to your home page. Let me close the other pages. Home page, right? And you see this little return statement here? I'm going to cut the stuff that I put inside my return statement here, and instead I'm going to say layout / layout, and I'm going to paste it here and save. But there's a small problem. We didn't import layout, so we're going to import layout on top. Boom. Done. Can you see it? All I did was I took some content from my home component and I enclosed it within layout. So all this code that you see on line number 7, right, this entire line of code, the whole thing gets passed as a prop to the layout component. The layout component will receive that prop and it will render it wherever you want to render it. Does that make sense? How many of you understood the concept? And if you look at the output on the left side, you can see that the content of the home page appears, but the content inside the layout file also appears on top, right? Look at the way we've placed it. We have a nav bar on top, so it appears on top. After which we are rendering the child. So whatever is in home, right? Whatever code was in home, it gets rendered in place of props.children, which is basically at the bottom. How many of you understood the concept of using a layout and using a prop? 10 people, 11 people. We can take this, we can replicate the same thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the exact same thing I did in home in my about page as well as my contact page. So if I go to my about page and I cut this, and let's paste this in here. Alrighty. Right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing in my contact page. Okay. Cut the content inside here. Gotta put that inside my layout. Save. So now what I've basically done is I did the exact same thing I did in the home page to the about page and the contact page as well. Okay. Import layout. Enclose all the content of that component inside the layout. Okay, so with every component that we have, we're basically taking the content inside it, passing it as a prop to layout. Layout will receive that content and it will render it wherever you tell it to render it, wherever you ask it to render it. Okay, and if you look at the nav bar, the links are all stuck to each other. So what I'm going to do is, if you look at the nav bar, we have a whole nav tag here, right? Inside which you have a link tag. So we're going to style that a little bit. What we can do is we can simply say we can go to the styles.css. Remember, the styles.css is inside the source folder. We're going to go inside there and we're going to do navy nav, and I'm going to say what do we give this? Margin 10. Inside nav we have link. Okay, and it doesn't show up on the right side because this styles.css hasn't been imported into the layout. So I'm just going to import layout as well. So I'm going to say import dot slash oops, sorry. Nope. Give me a sec. I don't think the import is done properly. We are inside, layer is inside pages, and we have to go all the way outside to our source folder. Okay. Doesn't work that way, I'm sorry. Okay, what we'll do is we'll simply import layer.css here, and I'll create another file here called layer.css. I'm going to say I'm going to take everything I put in my styles. Guys, just don't code for now. I'll put this in and I'll tell you what exactly to code. I made a lot of unnecessary changes. Just hang on. Margin 10 pixels. Okay. Right. Are you guys lost? I'm pretty sure some of you are lost. Okay, here's what I did. Go back to your file structure. Inside your pages folder, create a file called layout.css, okay? Layout.css. And inside layout.css, just type this code in, the CSS code, okay? I'm gonna paste that in here. Guys, are you following along? Just if you've gotten the CSS stuff, just react to the CSS message, the CSS code that I just posted. Just react to it. 5, 6, 7, 8. I think the last part was a little too fast because I looked at the time and I realized I had only 10 minutes. So, but no, yeah, just do exactly what I'm saying. I'll get you back to where we started off. Layout.css, okay, and paste this code in. Once you do that, import that inside the layout.js file. Import /layout.css. That's it. It gets imported. It'll automatically affect your navigation. And if you notice something inside the nav bar, inside the nav tag, I have link tags, right? These are all link tags. But if you look at the layout.css, I have nav, child, and a. Why do I put a as a child of nav? Because if you guys look at the browser here, if I right click on home and click on inspect, you can see that the word God. Yeah, if you look, there's a nav here under which we have an a tag, an a href, right? So you realize what React Router DOM did? It basically took your link tag from here. It took your link tags and it automatically changed them to anchor tags. I told you, right? The browser can understand only regular HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? What we wrote was basically JavaScript, but we wrote some custom JavaScript code that will automatically switch the link tags, or the link higher order component will automatically switch those links to anchor tags in the browser. So the normal HTML that you view in the browser itself would be anchor tags. Does that make sense? That's all you have to do, okay? Create a style sheet, put the code for the style sheet in, link it to the layout file, that's it. We're done. Have all of you followed? 24 people have copied the CSS. How many of you understood up until now? There's one more thing I would like to show you after this, if all of you have understood, if you know whether or not the layouts have actually worked.
Anna, can you just show the home.js page?
Yeah. Guys, it's very simple, okay? Go to your file structure and under pages folder, create a layout.css file. In the layout.css file, paste the CSS code that I pasted in the chat on top, okay? Just paste that in. Once you paste it in, go to layout.js and import that style sheet. Import /layout.css. That's it. That's all you have to do. Other than that, you guys know what to put on the home page. You guys know what to put on the layout page already, right? Layout page, nothing. You just get a prop and do props.children over here underneath the nav bar. Okay, home page you just wrap everything you have inside a layout function. Inside a layout component. And also over here, import layout. That's it. If you guys understood the concept so far, just click on the understood message, react to the understood message. If you do that, your routing is complete. Just do that for me, and once you're done, I can show you something else. Vishnu Simhar. That's basically how it's supposed to look, Vishnu. Also, there's some semicolon from some code that popped up. Check all your files. Any semicolon you would have used in between by mistake, you would have left a semicolon just like that. Just
okay now.
Yeah. Other than that, if you guys notice, if I click on say about, it changes, right? Do you see the way the routing works? the route on top changes, the route name changes, and the content changes. Whereas the nav bar remains static. The nav bar doesn't change. It's always in the same place, right? Do you guys see what's happening? Guys, how many of you didn't understand? Let me just put up a quick message. If you didn't understand, please react to that message. I'll explain the whole concept of how the layout works and how the props are passed from end to end. I'll draw it and I'll show it to you in a clearer way if you guys still didn't understand what exactly is happening here. There's only 24 reactions to understood, so there should be like 16 reactions to didn't understand, right? Okay, 1. Who else? Okay. Oh god, the numbers are going up. Okay, pretty simple. So what we did was, first let's start with the layout function, okay? Layout component. Listen very carefully. I'll say the whole thing from start to finish again. Start with the layout component, okay? You have a layout component, and inside the layout component you created a simple nav bar, okay? Very simple nav bar. The nav bar that you see on top here is basically this nav bar over here, okay? You created a nav bar. Inside the nav bar you have 3 different links, okay? Each link you have said home, about, and contact. As you click on each link, you redirect the user to a specific path, okay? And to do that, to create a link in React, you will import the link component from the React Router DOM package. You do that and you write this line in. It'll appear as anchor tags on your web page, okay? That's basically what the nav bar is. Now what we're going to do is, on all of our 3 pages, right, on whichever pages we need the nav bar to appear on, and whichever pages we need the nav bar to appear on, we go to those pages alone. For example, home, about, contact. On all 3 pages you want your nav bar to appear, and you want only the content inside this page to keep changing dynamically as the route changes, right? So what you do is, you go to each page, home, about, and contact. You take all the content that is returned and you enclose it within a layout component, and you're importing a layout component on top. So what happens is, when React sees this code, it will know that everything that is enclosed within the layout component should just be taken and passed to the layout component itself as a prop. So once that is done, the layout component receives it. Where's the layout component? The layout component receives that as a prop, and then it renders that wherever you want to render it, okay? So you can cut this line out entirely and the content disappears. So you can go to home, about, contact, but nothing gets rendered because you've gotten the prop but you're not rendering the prop anywhere. So if I paste it back in here, you can see that it changes, or it appears again. You're rendering the prop again. I can delete this and I can paste this somewhere, say on top. So now it appears on top and you have a navigation bar on the bottom, okay? So all you're doing is, you're taking your content on each page and you're enclosing it within a layout. Your layout will then receive that content as a prop, and it'll just render it directly wherever you want it to. That's it. And the reason why we use layouts is when we have a use case like Twitter, like the one I just showed you. Imagine you have a use case like this where you have multiple pages, okay? You have home, explore, notifications, messages, bookmarks, lists, profile, more, right? You have multiple multiple pages, right? But the thing is, on all these pages, you want your navigation bar to remain as it is. You don't want to keep reloading the navigation bar each time. You only want to change the content in the center. So all the content in the center is a child of the prop, is basically passed through a prop. So what you do is, you can create multiple pages. For example, let's say you create a component called the explore component. You create another component called the home component. You create another component called the notifications component. Then you create a messages component. You create a profile component. Each component that you create, the code that is inside each of these components is only what's shown in the center of the screen, okay? Only this. You take the code for these components and you program only this, what's in the center. Only this goes into these component files. Then what you do is, you take these component files and you enclose it inside a layout, okay? You take all these component files and you enclose it within a layout. And your layout, what you'll do is, you'll program a nav bar, and then you'll give this some left alignment or whatever, and then you're going to create then you're going to render the child over here in the center. And on the right side, you can have anything you want. You can have another navbar, you can have whatever you want on the right side. So now what happens is every time a person goes to say /home or /explore or /notifications, the component that is supposed to render will take all that it is returning and send it to the layout. The layout will receive it as a prop, and it will render the nav bar, and it will render the whatever it received as a prop as a child. So now what happens is, as you switch to new pages, it will recognize that the layout component is common to all these pages that the user is going to. So whatever is in the layout will always remain rendered, and it won't re-render. Okay? And only the children will keep getting re-rendered. So as long as you move to pages that have the same layout, only the children get re-rendered. The rest of it stays exactly the same. Which is why when you go back to say our own real-time example that we created over here in the browser, every time you go to say about or contact or home, the content keeps changing automatically. The layout stays the same. Whereas if you go to say some random page and hit enter, it goes to a 404, in which case the layout disappears. It's the 404 page is not enclosed by a layout, right? So the content of the content of the 404 page just shows up as it is. The whole page reloads. Whereas if I go back to /, the layout is loaded again. So now I'm going to another page of the layout. The children alone changes. The child alone changes. I go to contact, the child changes. I go back to home, the child changes. So your layout in this case is your higher order component, and any component that it encompasses, or any component that it encapsulates, will be passed to the layout as a child. Does the concept make sense? React to my message if you guys understood the whole procedure now. If you guys are stuck, I'll post the code on Code Sandbox. Go through every file, look at what exactly I've done, and code it for yourself and come back tomorrow. Okay, don't try to skip this. All the other apps that we create, we would make heavy use of these concepts. So if you skip it, you will be lost. Don't come back to me on the 7th day and be like, I don't understand layouts, I don't understand routing, can you please tell me what this does or what that does? Because from now on, I'm just going to use terms like higher order component or layout or route or whatever. I'm just going to use these, or link even for that matter. I'm just going to use terms. It should make sense to you from now on because I've explained it to you. If you have doubts, you can stay back. The session is officially over. If you have doubts, you can stay back and ask me. If you don't, you guys can leave. I'll post the link to the Code Sandbox on Discord, and you guys can go through the code once more in case you're confused. Okay?
Okay, Anna.
Okay. Yeah, done. So you guys can leave if you don't have doubts.
And tomorrow, do we meet at the same time, Anna?
It's your convenience. People, let them poll.
Fabian, can you post a poll here?
I'm sorry, Jacinton, can you dub the poll?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Yeah.
5 to 7 p.m. or is it going to be from 6 to 8 p.m.? And I'll post the feedback forms link on the channel, so kindly fill in the form.
Bye, Daniel.
Anna, are you there?
Yeah.
I actually have a doubt.
Okay.
So my output is working fine, but the about the link is actually blue in color other than the other two. So that's that.
Basically, what happens is links that you have already visited would turn. This is like basic HTML stuff. How can I not remember? Links that you haven't visited will be blue. Links that you have visited will be in purple.
Okay.
So navigate to about and then come back.
About navigate this about link is stay the same everything.